Hi everyone, and welcome to FilmDirt. I thought I'd pull this great movie from 2003 out the bag, Lost in Translation. I'm not a movie critic, I'm a movie lover, so I'd prefer to revisit fantastic movies like this rather than just criticising movies like some others do to earn clicks and talking with you guys on everything that's great about it and how we felt. So Bill Murray plays Bob, ironically an American movie star. He's come to Japan to work on a photographic commercial for a whiskey brand. And we also get Charlotte, played by Scarlett Johansson. She's just tagging along with her husband, I think he's in a band, or is he a photographer for a band? Something like that. That's not important, that part. In a small way, I can kind of relate to this film because in my line of work I was sent to Japan just a couple of times as part of my day job role in a publicity agency. If you do get sent overseas, there is that kind of detachment where I'm not really a solo traveller. I like to travel with friends or with family. I know some people do love to travel solo, and that saying where travel broadens the mind and you can take in a lot more if you travel alone. I've only really had a chance to do that on very limited occasions. But travelling so far as Japan, there is that detachment. I can only speak a very little Japanese, not enough to get by, but a few phrases and sayings. And in my view, a fantastic country. It's very rich in history and everyone is very generous. It's almost a tradition to exchange gifts and extend them to you held with both hands and bowing. It's a fantastic alternative to your own lifestyle if you're Western and you're lucky enough to travel to Tokyo and any country in the East. It definitely does broaden the mind. And of course you get the language barrier. I was in a working capacity as well, so you do somehow get by and you get to understand what people are trying to say. And what the film covers here is that he's kind of in that midlife crisis. Maybe life at home is getting a little bit boring. And that could be mirrored in Charlotte's character as well. She's much younger. I think she's 17 or depicted as 17 in this movie. She's been married 2 years. She's not really on the same level as her husband's personality at times, and also the personality of certain friends of his. She seems much more mature. So if anything, she's got more in common intellectually with Bill Murray's character rather than her husband's. And the good thing about this movie is that it doesn't really establish how they've got such a good connection. Bob Harris seems like the everyman. He doesn't seem like a flamboyant movie star that enjoys women and drugs and parties and all of that stuff. I think it's more of him trying to get away from the monotony of his home life with his wife and his children. And this should be really a holiday, but it's not really. He's not really getting it. I mean, they're talking to him, but he's not understanding what they're saying. He's not understanding the culture as well. And some of these shots of him trying to get through the day in the photography studio, there is definitely something lost in translation here. I love one of the early scenes where Bob is in a bar and he's trying to relax, and there's a couple of American guys sitting opposite and all they want to talk about is his movies because they recognise him. He doesn't want that. He just wants to relax, even though they share the same language. They're not on the same level still. And again, that's mirrored in Charlotte's character. She's getting detached from her husband's friends who you think they would have much more in common with. And they're talking about cleansing and facials. She doesn't care about all that guff. She just wants to chill and connect with someone in a much more intelligent level, I guess we could say. Another good aspect of this movie is that nothing really happens between them. There isn't really that serious whirlwind romance. He just gets talking to her admittedly a much younger girl, because he's lonely. He doesn't really cheat on his wife with her. He cheats on his wife with the singer, where it's alluded that they did share the night together in his moment of weakness. She's more his own age, so maybe there was that sudden connection. He wasn't really attracted to her, just a one-night stand. The real romance is a subtle one between him and Scarlett, even though no sex happens, and there's no arrangement afterwards to continue the romance. They say goodbye, and they do kiss at the end, and it's thank you and goodbye, and that's it. He goes back to his family, and you'd like to think what happens in Tokyo stays in Tokyo. So really, all in all, this is a fantastic movie. It does make you think on on time passing and what you want to do with your life and who you got connections with. And also, in my eyes, trying to make the best of what you've got. If you've got a loving wife and loving children, why would you want to throw that away? Yeah, you may get bored with certain people, but is it enough to leave that person? In most cases, not really. I think he was very respectful of Scarlett. I'm sure he may have views on how seriously he damaged his relationship with his wife. He shouldn't have explored that avenue, and I think he was aware of that, and he ensured that it didn't go any further. And in a way, you could say he was almost protective of her by not having sex with her and choosing to have sex with the singer instead. And he can detach from her, and he saved Scarlett from that burden. So, expertly crafted movie. I think director Sofia Coppola was very young when she did this as well, and she's really created a very mature movie with a lot of adult themes. So to give this a score, I have to give it 5 stars. It's just one of those 1 in a million films that you really enjoy, that seems very simply made, looks great, and is very immersive. Now, just to finish off, I did see an interview with Scarlett Johansson a while ago. I think it was on Howard Stern, where she did say how young she was. And I think for such a young age, she did fantastic in this movie. And she did say, because she's working with such a legend in Bill Murray and a great director in Sofia Coppola, in that she felt detached and almost lost in translation, with those players around her speaking their own filmic language. You know, the film industry has got its own language that I think takes young actors and young upstarts in the industry some time to learn and get used to. So I thought that was quite interesting of her to reveal that. So thank you for joining me in this little dive into a great movie. You don't really find too many movies like this anymore. Be sure to join me again next time for another movie chat. Subscribe to my channel and all that rubbish they always say, and I'll join you again soon. It's a pleasure talking to you. All the best. Take care.